And welcome everyone to another exciting adventure on Riding Through the Unknown. Today's show is a little bit different than a normal show that I do, and some of the guests may be coming on shortly. They're trying to connect or looking for a means to connect. And so, with that being said, today's show is a look back into what it does to be a presenter at a conference. And this conference is the Summer Daze Conference that was hosted by Gina Virginia Casella. It happened on June 13th. As I trying to think of the date, you can see we're all still kind of recovering a little bit from that. But today we are going to talk a little bit about what it was like to be a part of the conference, what it was like pre-conference, post-conference. So thank you all for joining us. And without further ado, I am going to turn it over to my guests to introduce themselves, starting with whoever wants to start. Julia, you're looking like you're laughing, ready to go.
Okay. I'm Anchor Haven. I'm a mystical wellness guide and experiencer, and I have a very similar channel to Michael. We talk about all things weird and wonderful, esoteric, stargates, time travel, super soldiers, and cloning is my specialty. So that's me.
I guess I'll go. I'm Missy Hill, and I'm a paranormal historian, psychic grid reader, boots on the ground, kind of like a land shaman, and I guess that's it for now. I'll get into it more, and I'm enjoying being here. Thank you.
And I will go next. I'm Sheila, your spiral sister Murray, and I'm into all things woo. I study diverse religions and spirituality. I am an interfaith minister, but more than that, I really love digging into everybody's stories and how we can uplift each other, how we heal each other. And I didn't even know why I had this black shungite pyramid until Saturday. And Saturday at the conference is when I learned why this came into my possession.
Oh, cool.
Do you want to share why that was?
Well, I know that it's absorbing negative energies, but there's a whole lot more that Gina and Julia Anchor Haven can talk about. And I'm sure even some of you can continue to talk about why this is important. So I will leave it right beside of me. Because I'm still learning.
Okay, and then there's Slavka. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yeah. Hope you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, so it's Slavka as a natural sentient, and then into everything that you ladies already mentioned, and anything that is beyond like ordinary human comprehension, a lot of mystical stuff, viewing stuff, and emotional healing, emotional medicine itself, also grid work, so a bit of everything. And I'm very happy to be here and to finally actually be on your channel, Michael. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I want to just comment really quick that I'm bringing a unique presence to this conversation because I was a presenter in the March conference, Promise of Spring. So I know what these speakers went through. And so that's the perspective I'm going to be bringing forward for this panel show, and where my topic and questions will be coming from. And so first off, What was it like for each of you to get a message from Gina or to reach out to Gina and say, hey, I want to be a speaker. Can I be a speaker?
Well,
So
go ahead.
okay, sorry. She asked me to be a speaker, and I said no. I know, because I don't actually. I do lots of talks about mystical wellness. I present all over the UK and everything. But talking about, I knew the next talk I did would have to be about super soldier weird stuff. So I said no until she came back, and eventually I said yes. So there you go. Yeah.
Well, and I just want to chime in, Julia. Another question for you, piggybacking on that, is you are a podcast host and you do a lot of stuff on screen and a little bit behind screen. So, what was it like to be asked as a speaker coming with that background? You know,
I prefer organizing and hosting. I do. I'm not going to lie. I really do prefer being behind the scenes. So I crew at events, so whether it's shamanic festivals or like the Disclosure Festival coming up, I'm crew. That's what I do. I work as a publicist and things like that. I am the crew. I don't like being put forward. I do mind body spirit events because it's an opportunity to connect with people who are newly awakening. And I see that as a big part of my priestessing journey. And that's my service work. So I kind of give that back. But I don't really like to be the guest. I don't really like to be the speaker, especially when you're being recorded and stuff like that. I don't really like it. I teach a lot, so I use PowerPoint. There's nothing new to me because I do teach on Zoom. But yeah, it was uncomfortable because I prefer to be the crew. I love organizing. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
okay. And Sheila, you were wanting to chime in.
Well, so Gina and I know each other from the Bruce Lipton group, and she's seen me on live with Bruce several times in the group asking him questions. So I don't know. I think we just resonated with each other, and she reached out to me and asked if I would do the keynote. And I think it was pretty early on in the collection process, but I really didn't know what it was going to all be about. I didn't know Gina that well. I had seen her as well on Bruce's show asking him questions. So I knew her, I knew of her, but only tertiary, knowledge, not anything in depth. And so she and I had I guess an interview, and we did that live on Zoom, which I really didn't know we were going to be live on Zoom when we did it. So it was just all really ad hoc. It wasn't really prepared. And when I said yes right away to the keynote, because I had just finished my 5th book and I wanted to get that information out to as many people as possible that were in love with this genre, shall we say, maybe woo or all things fringe. I don't know what we call ourselves now. I'm open to hearing more about that. But yeah, I was all for doing it. But like Julia, I'm used to having done PowerPoint presentations and things for years in my job. But when it came time to talk about myself and about this book that means so much to me, it was very personal. And there was some journey work involved for sure. So I love the growth that comes from all of that, though. So I was keen to do it, but it was challenging. It had its own sets of challenges. Thanks for asking.
And did you feel extra pressure because you were asked to do the keynote and not just a presentation?
Well, yeah, and looking back, I probably wouldn't have made it so much about the book, like almost a sales spiel for the book. I would have made it more about who I am as a person and what I feel my mission is and the message that I really want to get out. Although that's imbued within the pages of the book and it came up, of course, I found myself rewriting that presentation just because of that, because I started with one idea in mind and then I realized it was really more about just sharing the broad strokes instead of trying to sell a book.
Yeah, very cool. And before I start and go to Missy, I just want to say from my heart to you all, you guys did phenomenal. Don't think any of your presentations fell short. They all were great and exactly what was needed in the time. And to answer your question about what do we call ourselves now, We're Dragon Dreamers now. That's the title Gina has given us. We're Dragon Dreamers. And so, Missy, do you want to share
Oh,
your...
sure. Yeah, this process started with Julia for me. Julia asked me, would you like to be a speaker? And I said yes right away because of the fact that I knew I needed the practice because she said she'd help me with some of the behind the scenes technical thing because I feel like I have to backpedal because see, I've always been a hands-on person. Yes, I learned how to type and things like that some, but I've never even had a desktop computer in my life because I travel so much. So, and when I've been a tour guide, I do it the old-fashioned way, which is using cue cards until I have something memorized, because I did the Biltmore Village Mystery Tour, which is part of Haunted Asheville, or when I took people out before on presentations, I would do it with no notes, basically tell my stories, and I'd be using my third generation night vision goggles, even though when I was on those cruises, the main person that put these together, she wanted me to do like a presentation and get up with a PowerPoint, but that's something I need to learn how to do because in my life, I don't know whether I should be proud or crazy to say that I've never used Microsoft Word in my life. I never have. I went straight to the AI stuff. So I bypassed all that. And now I'm getting frustrated with AI. I've already had Grok lose a bunch of my stuff for my book. I mean, I have handwritten notes for my book on receipts. I've made recordings. I have emails sent to myself. I've had it in Grok. I've had it in ChatGPT. I have it up here. But how do I get this story in congruence? I need some technical people to help me with this, so
I can help you with technical admin. I am a technical admin from construction background and things like that. I can help you with that. I'm a quality auditor, so I can do quality management. So I'll help you. Don't worry.
Yeah. So
and writing in Word, I can help you with that too.
Yeah. So, and now I've decided to put myself through even more stress after this. The energy of the summer solstice, the energy of the movie Disclosure Day, bases, even though I'm not going, Summer Daze, I'm feeling all of it, right? And I decided, okay, I'm going to make myself learn how to do this StreamYard because I ended up getting the upgraded version because when I signed up for StreamYard, they said I could have it for $1. Then they said I could have it for $11 for a month. And then that went away. And I don't even know what happened, but they said, okay, you can have StreamYard, the highest end version that's normally $88 a month for 1 week for free. And it's supposed to do all these things. And I've learned how to make some of these, what they call clips, these short videos, because I have a problem with, another thing I have a problem with is storage. So I either have to buy storage from Google or iCloud or somebody else. I really don't like Google much, but because I have to constantly be deleting things because my Gmail says to me every day, you have 0% storage left.
Well, Missy, I can't speak for Julia about this part, but StreamYard, because we're on StreamYard, I can help you with that and help you navigate it and find out the right level of StreamYard you need to be at, because even I'm not on the top-notch StreamYard yet. But
right.
So
it's free. That's the reason. And it's kind of like press buttons to figure it out. But I'm going to be downgrading in the next couple days. So what I was wondering is if I just go to the free version for now, will I lose everything until I get oriented? Because I'm going to be traveling. I'm going back to North Carolina a week from yesterday. And then I've got stuff to take care of. I need some me time. I got to do some hiking. I got to get in the mountains. I got to get grounded, get my feet in the rocks and the water and all that stuff. And then I'll come back to doing shows, but not at a pace like Rob or you or Julia. I'm not going to keep up that pace. Maybe at certain times when I feel the energy is propelling me. Like this was like, I feel like a hurdle or climbing a mountain or something that I actually had to do. Like something was propelling me and pushing me. Do it, do it, do it. And you learn eventually, but how many times, because somebody reminded me yesterday, go to YouTube Studio. I forgot I had YouTube Studio. It's like I had downloaded it and I've used it, but I didn't remember. So it's like all these things they'll eventually click for anybody new to this, but it does take a minute. It does.
It does, and I'll be honest, I forgot about YouTube Studio until you just mentioned it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, there is a studio, isn't there?" I don't use it myself, but
But
let's.
that's how you make the changes. So, like with this live stream, I put your name in as Michael. I'm not going to want to. I'm not going to want to keep the title Michael because it wasn't. It's your show, but it has a title, so I have to go in through YouTube Studio and change it. You
Oh
can't
yeah,
just change it on YouTube. You can't because I spent an hour just on that. Why can't I change this? Because you have to go to YouTube Studio and do it. If you don't
Yeah,
do it,
I can, but I have to go to like my live tab, and then there's a list of videos in the live tab, and then you just click on it and it lets you edit. So every time I go live in the morning, it saves it as private every single day, so that I just go into the live tab. I don't go directly into the studio. I just go to the live tab, and there's options there to do that. I gave up on StreamYard. I think it's shite. I really do. And it, it messes with my internet all the time, right? And I think it's not very encrypted, so we get targeting handling through StreamYard. I know Slavka's had trouble recently, and yeah. So if there's something else out there, there's OBS, and I would like to be able to use OBS. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot have been trying to get me onto OBS for the last 6 months. You know, Jason talks about it. I just don't know how to use it. It's dead high tech looking for me. So anyone who can use OBS, yeah, I think we might need some help with that.
well, Zoom, you might have to uninstall and reinstall it. For me, it was going to be easier to try this free StreamYard than do that. But not that I don't want to use Zoom too, because I still don't know how to get a virtual background with StreamYard, but I do with Zoom. But I do have to uninstall it. I know that. So I didn't feel like messing with that either.
yeah.
Hey, Stevie!
Zoom doesn't work for me because I can't get everybody to stay on the screen together. It always will put the speaker full screen, and that just annoys me. So, Slavka, do you want to share what it was like for you?
Yeah, thank you. I can relate to what you said, Julia, because lately I had a lot of issues with StreamYard. So I'm thinking that I will do it either from the Zoom or I'll change for some different website. So, and going back to your question, Michael, I got to know Gina from Rob's tribe. So I think we met all basically there. And when she asked me to participate, it was for me like, wow, like thank you for considering me because I never did it before. So that was something like a very nice challenge for me. Like, okay, I think it's time to get out and speak out. So I felt like, okay, I'll share my story medicine, that healing through the learning self love, through the wisdom of wounds. And I was used to do the presentations before when I studied at university, but then it's been long years since I did it last time. So anyway, I decided not to do that because the topic for me was like I didn't need to really to put any background. The important was the content that I wanted to share. So and I'm really grateful that Gina asked me to participate. And that was actually mutual healing for me and hopefully for the audience.
Yes, and I am grateful, that everybody was able to present and to share their topics. And I have to admit, coming from my background, I've told Julia this about hers, but each one of you, I don't know that I could have done the presentation that you did the way you did it because I get lost in details and I go on tangents, and I'm infamous for starting on one topic and then we branch off, and then that branch we just keep going on other branches, and I forget that I have a topic to I'm supposed to be talking about. So I commend all of you for being able to create not just the presentation, the visual, and everything, but the fact that you were able to stream through the topic and stay on it. And if you branched off a little bit, you brought it back, and it was like you tied it all together. So great job on doing that. And my next question for all of you is, what was your preparation like the day of? What did you wake up with like extreme nerves and being like, oh, what in the world did I sign up and agree to do? What was I thinking? Or were you like excited and going, okay, is it time yet? Is it time yet? I want to get my turn.
Yeah, so for me, it was later in the day, wasn't it? So for me, it was like afternoon time that it started. So, and I get up at 5 a.m. anyway, but I'd already sent the presentation over. So there's nothing I could change. There was nothing I could do. I just had to trust that it was going to work out. So I just focused on grounding as much as I could. But right before I went to present, I almost cried. I really did. I think I had tears coming down right before I was about to present. It was very intense, emotional. Yeah. And and mine wasn't even, I mean, Slavka's was so beautiful, like, heart opening, womb healing, that kind of energy is coming in, really vulnerable. And mine was different, but still vulnerable. But yeah, it was hard to, I think I medicate. So I took my heart meds, and that slows my energy down is what I did. I know that sounds bad, but I meant to take this medication. I hardly ever do, because I love being high vibe. I don't want to be like zonked out. But right before, I thought I'd better take my medicine to slow myself down, or my blood pressure is going to spike too much and we're going to have a medical emergency. So I did take my medication that day. Yeah.
And I gotta say, Julie, if that's your slow mode, I would hate to see you presenting at a fast normal mode, because you were like, I even told you, I was like, you were hyper focused, and
Yeah.
it was like nothing anybody said or did. You were like oblivious and
I just
just
wasn't looking at the
focused.
charts at all. I couldn't look at the charts. But when those phone calls came through, the first one, and I'm like, how the hell did this happen? My iPhone just keeps allowing phone calls through now when I'm on Do Not Disturb. And something's wrong with it. It's definitely targeting, especially because who it was, when it was, they had no idea why they'd phoned me. It was definite targeting. Yeah. So Sean Bond, when you do a session with Sean Bond, he says, what's your, rate your energy from 0 to 10 right now. And I always say 15. Right? I'm a 15, just on a general day, I'm a 15. And I do have troughs which go down. Right now, I'm about 23, off the charts, because I've had a temple day. So my energy is always very high. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Slavka, you want to go next?
Yeah, I can totally understand. I also felt like, oh, I want to like give out my best. And actually, last minute, I did some updates and adjustments to my presentation. So yeah, and then I was really last minute finishing, and then I just I got connected, and then of course it was okay at the end. So yeah, but it was like some responsibility, like first time speaking. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I get you, because it was my first time speaking in March, and it was quite an experience. And so I totally get where you're coming with on that one, Slavka. I'm gonna ask about that in a moment. And so let's give Sheila and Missy a chance first to answer the question.
Well, I was excited. And then I normally never get nervous while I'm presenting or speaking, because I put my focus, my consciousness out onto the audience, which is just something that I do. And I think from doing emotional freedom technique and teaching that, it's not about me, it's about we, So I remind myself of that. The odd thing, though, was once I started presenting, I think it was because, like Slavka said, I too had made some changes the night before and even the day before. And so I was getting lost in my little 3.5 by 5 cards a little bit and repeating a couple things, and that threw me off. And then I started to get I felt the little jitters, the little nerves, and I'm like, okay, I had to say that to myself again and take a breath. It's like, it's not about me, it's about we, and put that focus back out on the audience. I think I looked at the numbers too much. I looked at like when there were 6 people or 8 people watching, 9 people watching, and I'm like, damn, there should be more people watching this. So it was that kind of interplay that was going on with me, that I probably will not do that again. And also the time, we were limited to the 35 minutes, and I had timed my presentation all through the week practicing it. And I never went over 35, but I'm like you, Michael, and that I will spiral too. So I let spirit in. And so if something just needs to be said, it's going to be said, or a story related, especially if I've just heard someone speak. And then I want to relate to them, not in an ego way, but just as in we are a community. And of course, the book's about we are all connected, so it fit. But it's like, now I don't know what time it is. And I didn't go back and look at like our private chat or anything like that to get any kind of countdown. So I think my lessons learned would be, if I do this again with Gina, I know, just keep going until she stops me. Get my presentation in, but then just go in and kind of do the little, what do we call those embellishments, to get the little bits in, the little things that the other little smaller messages maybe, but points that we want to make before, so that we're not, I don't know, I just need more practice maybe, so that I don't do the spiral tangents, but that I can put them little flourishes. That's what I was trying to think of at the end, when I have a little more time, because I think I ran through mine too at about 17 minutes or so. Then we went into Q&A, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to have Q&A. The keynote doesn't have Q&A, and that threw me off, but I
wish I'd been keynote, so I didn't have Q&A.
Oh, everybody gets a Q&A.
No, she specifically told me I would not have a Q&A as the keynote, that was one of the benefits. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I thought I kind of like this Q&A actually, so.
See, I learned something new. And Missy, how about you?
Well, I remember that first interview that I did with Gina, and that was over 2 hours. And I did one with you, and I've done so many with Rob, and then, Slavka, I'll talk about yours after. But so I was thinking initially, like, I don't know what I'm going to do and what I'm going to say that hasn't already been said over and over, like on Typical Skeptic and all these places. And then I started brainstorming one time when I was in my hot tub. And, first of all, I thought I was going to be doing this from North Carolina because the Wi-Fi wasn't, the situation with the Wi-Fi, not having it in certain places and this and that. But now we have this great Wi-Fi that they actually offered for free to change to AT&T, right? To have this AT&T, which I'd never liked AT&T, but they said, we're going to, give you this free for 3 months and all this, so, and how they were going to hook it up, but anyway, it got hooked up, and it's really good, and I even have it down where I am right now. So that changed, and then Ron was able to be a part of it, and I usually brainstorm when I'm in my jacuzzi tub, and I was thinking, I want to give the people the experience. I don't want them to just hear me talk, because I can be diarrhea of the mouth and talk for 3 hours. And of course, like you, Michael, circle around. So maybe you need to be on my show so we can go all over the place and go nowhere at the same time, and then circle back around to the beginning. So Slavka, was when I was on your show. After that, I'm like, you know what? After that, I created the meditation, and I remembered I sent that to you, Julia, and then and the one reason I wanted to go last is because until the shit hits the fan, pardon the expression, at the very end, I really don't know what I'm going to do, because I thought I could end up winging it and not do any of what I prepared. I didn't know, but originally I thought there's no way I could weasel this down to 35 minutes. Well, I know that I created one meditation, and then I said, you know what? I need to create the other meditation, because it ended up being about a clearing of how we're all, that interconnected thing. That was the message from everybody pretty much. And then the whole thing with the pine tree forest, that was synchronistic. But this whole thing of like, if I'm giving the experience of all these places I've been, and I see how they all connect together and what it means, like if we're focused on Atlantean timelines, which, Summer Rob brought up Atlantis and all this stuff, I'm like, well, how do I give the experience? So that's why I did the meditation, and then I made a few notes, which I thought I may deviate from, and then I did a meditation at the end, and then it turns out I had 3 minutes extra. And I welcome a Q&A, because this way I go by what people want to hear me talk about instead of what I think people want to hear.
Right. And so one question I want to ask all of you, and believe me, there is like no pressure to this question at all, but do you feel coming from first time presenter to presenting on other occasions, and Soma has just entered, so hopefully she'll be coming in. And there's Soma.
Hello.
Welcome, Soma.
Hello. I finally got in. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. You made it. That's the important part. And so I was just about to ask the question for everyone, and Soma, you're welcome to chime in as well. Is being from a position of first time speaker ever, or presented at other, conferences, did it put you more at ease having the backup presentation that you had to create for Gina, or did it add more pressure to everything and you were like, I wish I didn't have to do this, but okay?
Yeah, I can speak to that. Honestly, there was so much healing that went into that backup voiceover and everything that I really wish I didn't have to do it, but I understand why she asked us to do that. And so I think going through that really did, I went through a big transformation, like trying to record my presentation with the voiceover. And then when I got it to 43 minutes or whatever it was, and she said to me, cut it back, and I was like horrified. She's like, cut it back, or I'll do it for you. And I was like, no, don't touch my testimony. And you guys know I left quite a few voice notes to people saying, oh my God, I'm freaking out. I even left a message for Drago Ray, said, I'm freaking out because this is going on. I'm only have 35 minutes. He's like, well, you've only got 35 minutes. That's insane. Because we need a minimum of 2 hours to 5 hours to talk about super soldier weird stuff, right? He won't go anywhere unless they give him at least 2 to 5 hours. That's it, because it's just not possible. So yeah, so I'm quite proud of the fact that I did cut it down, but it probably didn't make any sense whatsoever. So hopefully I'm talking at basis this Sunday, and I should get 45 minutes, at least 45 minutes. Yeah, if I can. Yeah, I just want to take a moment to ask Soma why her hair does not look like mermaid when she sent out a video of mermaid hair. What was that about? Oh, okay. It was right. Because I was like, oh my God, Soma's looking sexy. Like mermaid sexy. What's going on? Right? You look
Well,
great.
it's filters and it's hair pieces and makeup and all of that, and hats.
Well, your hair looks lovely as it is now as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
And who wants to chime in next about the pre-requirements to the conferencing?
I'll go ahead and go to get that part over with. No, initially I thought it was a good idea. I understood, but because of the situation with that day, the service and like Wi-Fi, I actually went somewhere else to do it at a restaurant under their pier, because I was doing it from my phone because I was having all these tech things, but Gina's just so loving and patient and wants, me to succeed in all this. Like, the funny thing is none of what I presented for that backup did I use at all. So that was the other thing. I mean, she thought it was great, but I was like, cut that. No, that's ending up on the cutting room floor.
Slavka?
I was very honest with Gina since the beginning, and I just told her, like, I just don't know how I should do that, how I should narrow it down, because I had like the text and it was a mess. So, and she kindly helped me. She already mentioned that yesterday in our live stream. I was really grateful for her assistance because it helped me really to find the structure, So, yeah, I mean, I told her directly. I asked for the help because I didn't know actually. And first, when I recorded my presentation, it was just like 20 minutes. And I said to myself, okay, that's not enough. So that's why I did last minute changes. And that really helped me, that she was very, very, very nice. And she found the time and she put the effort to really to help me narrow down the presentation. And that's actually there I felt my grounding, that I was like more calm, because from that moment when I knew the structure, I was just like adjusting, um, on the sentences itself, but I knew what I want to what to share. So I'm from like she was very very kind to me.
She is very kind, so I'm grateful that you were able to get that help. And Sheila, are you wanting to go next?
Yeah, I mean, I think because of her teaching background, Gina is very knowledgeable and giving in that regard. So I'm really glad to hear that, Slavka, that she helped you. I was similar, that it was hard to kind of break things down into those little bite-sized chunks because the book is 600 pages and there's just no way. The whole thing just blew up on me because the more I researched and experienced life over the 20 years, I was taking notes and documenting, and that's what became that book. But to give a presentation on it is just a nightmare because where do I focus? Do I just pick like three of the 21 chapters and focus on and then I didn't want to read a portion because that's doing disservice to the rest. So then the whole point became, okay, it's a whole, just like we take a tree as the whole thing. What am I going to focus on? One branch, one leaf? So I just tried to do the broad brush. But I didn't want to be so rigid that I was just reading everybody the table of contents, because that would have just been boring. So I tried to mix up a little bit of life experience in there with it and teaching too. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a challenge. And the nice thing about that though is, and I think I'm hoping Julia will discover this at Bases, is that because she went through that process, when she gets to Bases, it's just really going to flow so much easier, because now I have 2 or 3 others scheduled for July and I'm not concerned at all about them. Although one of them is at a Unity church and I know they're going to want to kind of hone in on the spirituality part, which is okay, and I can do that. But yeah, they're particularly interested in pretty much the same presentation that I gave here, except just with the additional deep dive on the spirituality. And I'll have more time with them too, so that'll be good. I think if I just didn't think about the time limit, I would have been fine, but I focused on the time limit a little bit too much.
You know what my husband said, Sheila? He said, I bet you spoke at a Unity church and you would be a great minister for a Unity church. He picked up on that right away before I did even.
I know, I read that in your comments somewhere, Missy, and I love that. And tell him thank you for me. I really didn't have that desire because I'm more drawn to that interfaith movement. But and I know Unity is, but it's just everybody's got their little bit different bend. But yeah, so I have a friend named Joran Opelt, and I'm going to send you his information because he's in Asheville. I'm pretty sure they moved
Oh,
from
okay. Yeah,
Florida
I
to
used to go there because there was a dowsing community there.
Yes.
I've done some speaking, and I used to do some of their theater things way back. You
That's
know,
awesome.
you know, and be involved as an outreach. You know, that's a place to actually do events and things like
That's
that. Yeah.
really what
So
I
we
want.
got to talk about some of that stuff. Some of us have just been overwhelmed these past couple of weeks.
Yeah, no kidding. Soma, do you want to share your thoughts about not only the requirements of the prep, but what you've felt about leading up to the conference?
I thank you, Michael, and hi everyone. I'm sorry it took me so long to get on. I tried 2 different laptops and then my phone as well. So really enjoyed the conference and really enjoyed the meditation that I did, which I thought was very funny because Gina said no channeling. So I was like, oh, okay. So what will I do? And then, of course, so I had it in my mind to talk about certain things like ascension. And then, of course, the Pleiadians, very diplomatically did a meditation and not a channeling, which I thought was kind of hilarious. But to your question, Michael, I actually very honestly had a lot of resistance personally myself to doing the presentation, not the presentation, sorry, the pre-recorded video. But I'm really glad I did it because I think it added a lot to my own experience is the wrong word, but it added something to my bow. It added another thing that I'm more comfortable to do now. But I did have a lot of resistance to it. And a part of me was like, oh, you know, most people don't want this. But then I thought, well, you know, is it worth it? And I thought, yes, it is worth it because it's it'll be a good experience for me to learn how to do this. Not something I've really done before, but I came away feeling good about it, and I came away thinking that Gina is right to do that, and I know that she has experience as a school teacher, so I really felt that energy from her with, you know, asking for the presentation, and I came away seeing it in a very positive light.
I agree. And one of the questions I asked earlier before you got on, Soma, was, and I'll give you a chance to answer now, was what was it like to have either Gina ask or you ask to be a speaker at this conference? What were your thoughts around that?
I was very excited, very honored to have been asked the conference. Really?
Is that on our end or is that on her end?
I think it's on her end, being in Ireland. It's
okay.
And it just feels like I'm part of community, you know, and I love that. I love the connections. I love the family.
Michael, why she's frozen?
So yeah, I love the unity, the connection, the family feeling, the inclusion, and all of that. So I'm looking forward to doing more with all of you guys. And am I frozen?
You're
Yeah.
cutting in and out, but we got, we heard you say
Am I
that
frozen, guys?
A little bit. Yeah.
There's a little bit of lag and a little choppiness, but we heard you say that you and were excited, honored, that it felt like family, and you're looking for, enjoying the connection and doing future conferences with all of us.
Michael, I have a
Yes,
technical
yes,
question.
yes.
I have a technical question for our viewers right now. They want to know how to get into the chat. If you can
So
explain.
if you go onto YouTube, if you're watching through YouTube, there's a live chat button, and you click that, and it'll bring in the chat. If you're on Facebook, it's once you open it, the chat is you leave a comment and it shows up as the chat. So they both interact. Anywhere else, I don't know how that works. Those are the two main places that I get. Julia, is there anything I missed on that part? Because you do the chat rooms more than I do.
No, I just go direct to YouTube. So we do have a nice gathering of people on Michael's channel over there. So that's where I've been having a look. I do have to go in a minute, guys, because I've got my evening wellness group, my Awakened Wednesday group. So, but it's so lovely to have experienced this with you guys. It was a really positive event. I know we all got a lot of healing. And for me, yeah, you're right, Sheila. It was great to be able to do that run through before I hit the Basis conference this weekend, and to get feedback from everybody. It was so good. And Jason and I have been talking about things behind the scenes of like what to include, what not to include, and things like that. So that's been really, really positive. So yeah, I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And
Before you go,
you
Julia, I want to give you one last question, and that is, what was the highlight to the conference for you? And don't say the ending.
You know what? I actually, when Starkey Lolo was doing some kind of sound experience or something, I passed out. So I must have had an upgrade, right? So that was quite positive. So I came back and I was like, oh, whatever, that's so cool. And then my super soldier brother putting out that positive post about me and him right at the same time I was doing my talk. So it just really solidifies that psionic connection that we both have, for like everybody to see that, yeah, we really do have telepathics going on there. So because he didn't know what I was doing when I was doing it or anything like that, so it was really cool. But it's because I've got the Basis conference coming up. So shout out to Drago Reed for being a very supportive super soldier brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, so take care, everybody. I'm going to catch up with you all later, and I'll be doing random updates from the Basis conference now. I'm traveling down there tomorrow. It all starts on Friday night, and I should be connecting with Rob, a typical skeptic, to do some behind the scenes. And Slavka's going to help set up some side podcasts. So Slavka's going to be live streaming from the event and connecting with Rob, a typical skeptic. So yeah, Slavka, I'll see you soon. I'll send you a message. Yeah, I can't wait to meet Slavka in person.
I'm very excited
to give you a hug and see you in person. It's going to be so cool. And I'm very little, Slavka. I'm like short and round. So it's good. When you see people in person, it's so weird, because I know Sean Bond is going to be dead tall. Dr. Amir's tall as well. So it's so strange. But we'll get some great photos over the weekend. I better go and open up my
Julia, Julia, give Laura Eisenhower a big hug from me, okay?
Yeah, will do. Yeah, so I'm seeing Laura. There's loads of people coming from all over right now. So I did put out a post on Basis Project saying safe travels, everyone who's coming from abroad. Safe travels and lots of ease and joy in the travels for everybody over the next 2 days. Yeah, because we're literally converging. There's lots of Merlins converging as well. So we're all bringing our Merlin energies. And today I was in Priestess Temple. My energy is massive right now with Magdalene Flame energy. And then I go down to the Isle of Avalon tomorrow. So that's going to be coming into the meditations that I do next over the next 2 weeks. So we're going to be Avalon energies getting anchored through, which is so awesome. All right, bye guys.
Okay, I'm gonna wear
Bye,
this
Julia.
for Avalon. That's for my next show.
Oh, yeah. And actually, Michael, I will get to run as well because I get to prepare for tomorrow. I'm flying to London and to direction to Basis conference. So
Yes.
if you don't mind, I would love to.
No, that's totally fine. And if you don't mind answering, what was your highlight to the conference before you go?
Well, for me, the highlight was that high vibrational energy that everyone was part of it, and that flow itself, and the medicine that we received, that we were giving and receiving. That was the highlight. I can't say anything like particular because I enjoyed it all. The flow itself and everyone that contributed, it was so healing, uplifting, and it was amazing. So, and highlight was actually as well the feedback from the audience and the comments and questions, and that, yeah, that was the mutual healing and the satisfaction and that everything that perfectly went well. Organization, Gina, kudos to all of you. Really, congratulations.
Thank you, Slavka, and safe travels and have a wonderful time at Bases.
Thank you, and I wish we could meet there all together and just to see and just to hug each other. So hope to meet you all. Thank you very much. Much
Thank
love.
you. Okay, and there we go. So, Soma, what was the highlight to the conference for you? I think we're Soma's.
I'll go ahead and go, Michael, because I'm gonna have to sign off too, because I got another show coming up. But you know
Okay.
what? One thing I think the highlight is the interconnectedness of all of us. I did do a little multitasking while I was, in the conference and listening to people. I was actually making sourdough bread. But when that blues would come on, every time there was a break, I would be dancing to that blues. I was loving that. I was like, how did she get this music? It's not copyrighted music. So that's kind of a thing that stands out for me was the in-between music, and the videos in between and just the reinforcement of being like in that pine tree forest. But I want to give a shout out to Wizard Whitkiss and Kentucky Bigfoot and Eric and Jason 420 and Dan and all the different people that I'm seeing in the chat that are coming up. Say hi to all of them.
Yes, and so thank you for that, and thank you all for coming on. And if have a wonderful trip, Missy, and I look forward to having you on my show more often, and I will definitely come on yours. And I'm like you. I have a magical sense of when on show I can go off tangents, but bring it all back at the very end to where it all fits into a nice little box, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, this all is, on topic." Actually, it's like, yeah, it's amazing how you can do that sometimes.
What I don't know when I leave the show, I don't know what to press to even leave.
So there's an orange button on the bottom, orangish red.
Okay. Yeah, I got like 5 minutes or so, and then but when I feel I need to go, I'll just be watching the time after Sheila goes, and we'll see. But at least I know what to do. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much, Missy. My husband wants to talk more about the Sasquatch and the Bigfoot, so he's into
that
right.
That
He's
song. Oh my God, that song he did is a hoot. Tennessee, Kentucky, Bigfoot would love that song. I'll have to send it to him. Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yes,
Hilarious.
please do. Please do. Yeah. And
What?
he's into the UFO and alien, and all that. But I think, and that's why I asked Michael earlier, it's like, what do we call ourselves? Because I get the Dragon Dreamers, but it's not real descriptive of what we talk about. Like we talk about a pretty broad range of topics. And so the only word I could think of was fringe, but fringe kind of has a negative, or at least in some of my circles, it has a negative kind of connotation to it. So I didn't know if, like, how would I describe this group? And someone actually, one of the first comments today, somebody asked that, what is this all about? Well, heck, I mean, it's about a lot of stuff. It's about epigenetics, because we talk about health and above our genes. It's about science because we get into metaphysics. It's about conspiracy stuff. It's about a lot of things. And so that's kind of why I was asking, just because he was kind of walking through during the conference going, well, that person's wacky and that person's a nut job, and and I'm like, so are we.
So, how about this for you, Sheila? Dragon Dreamers Collective. We can call ourselves the collective of we because we are a collection of stories and experiences. So it encompasses everything, and it doesn't have, well, it has somewhat of a reputation, but I think putting Dragon Dreamer in front of it might make it a little less, people feeling uneasy about it. Just a thought.
Well, and I appreciate that, Michael. I'm just laughing because the word mixed nuts just dropped in when I said that. So no, I don't mind. Maybe I'll start one called the mixed nuts or something, but it's kind of got a masculine tone maybe, but my mom taught me how to crack walnuts when I was a kid, so I always enjoyed that with her. But I don't know, I'm just being silly now.
Or we could call ourselves, what's a way to put it? The unexplainables.
I like that.
We talk about stuff that even we have a hard time explaining, and topics that are usually unexplainable, and that's where we go.
Right, it's mystical, it's energetic, like Kreskin, which I loved the Twilight Zone as a kid and Kreskin and those shows. So I watched like what was the one, Dark Towers or something about the vampires. I would watch that, but I wasn't as interested in that as I was.
Oh, Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows, that's it, yeah. But I wasn't as interested in that as I was the Twilight Zone and Bewitched.
What would be interesting for you, Sheila, is to go back and watch it now.
Yes.
And see if it's more interesting to you now, knowing what you know now, or
it is just as interesting. We bought the whole Twilight Zone DVD series and we watched it all through at least once. We're going back through some of them now, but the Alfred Hitchcock stuff too, just for the cinematography, if nothing else, because it holds up after all these years. But those stories, they just got in me, and you're right, unexplainable. That's a good word for it, Michael. I like that, because there were lots of those stories that were unexplainable. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually stumbled on a show, and here we go on a tangent, but when I was getting, one day just flipping through channels, all of a sudden I stumbled on this show from I think it was the 60s, maybe the 70s, called One Step Beyond. And I was like, what is this? And when I started watching it, I was like, this is a paranormal show that predates any paranormal show I've ever seen. And I was like, this is actually interesting because they give you a crime or something that happened, and then they go, well, now we're going to go one step beyond, and they show what led up to the events, and then the event and what came of it. And so it was like, oh, interesting. So yeah, I need to find and see if those are, if they ever were put to DVD, and if somebody, like Amazon has those, because that's an interesting show. If you want to get into like some interesting topics, they push the envelope back then, in my opinion. And I wonder how many people even know that show existed.
Yeah, well, Eric put that in the chat too. I love One Step Beyond. Now I've got to look for that as well. So we'll send
Do
each
you
other.
have Roku?
No, we don't.
Oh, because I was gonna say, I know Roku for a while was carrying it. I don't know if they still do.
Okay.
As being a free, you can watch it, but
Well, and I'll tell you, I've been searched. So the folks who are still watching too, and you, did you ever listen to a radio show called I think it was CBS Mystery Theater? But I have searched for it and I can't, like, I can find, I did buy, somebody actually had one for sale, a thumb drive years ago, but I've been going through, there were hundreds of shows. I went through them all looking for one that was, it didn't have terrarium in the name. And so, spoiler alert, it's about people living in a terrarium. But when I listened to that show, I was hooked. I was like, I had to listen to that radio show. I think it was on every Saturday night or something. Even as a teenager, I was just addicted to that show. And so I have some of the episodes, but I'm sure not nearly all of them.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm not
just
too
bought
familiar
Roku.
with that.
Wow. Okay. Well, if you ever come across it, or if anybody, Wizard or anybody else knows, or Eric, let me know. Send me a, put it in a comment here, or catch me on Facebook Messenger or something. I would love to get a hold of that for my granddaughters because they're all into this too.
Yeah.
It's not too scary, but it makes you think.
Well, since here Tennessee says CBS Radio Mystery Theater, aka Radio Mystery Theater and Mystery Theater, sometimes abbreviated as CBS RMT, is a radio drama series created by Hyman Brown that was broadcast on CBS Radio Network. Well, that'll help narrow it down for people if they're looking it up now.
Yeah, that will help. Thank you.
And so, Sheila, what was the highlight for you for the conference?
Oh, I think just meeting a whole new group, and being included in this circle of, well, I was going to say Gnostics, but, yeah, I mean, we're seeking gnosis, right? We want to know, we want to
Right.
experience and live through these things, not just read about them. So I think that's it. I loved everybody's presentation though. And so I even had to go back to Spring and watch yours. I had to watch
Aw.
Alex Lipton's. Yeah, see, I know. And just to have some idea again about what am I a part of, right? But I love it. It's like planting seeds in the garden, and sometimes you just don't know which ones are going to grow and what's going to come up.
Yeah.
Sometimes you forget the seed that you planted. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
great.
for because you mentioned mine and the Promise of Spring, I when I had to do the presentation, making it, I had it all, in my mind. I was like, okay, yeah, I can talk about this, I can talk about that. And then I was like, wait, I had to make a presentation. I was like, oh, and then I was like, how do I make these cards? How do I put images? And Gina was like, just, do it in PowerPoint. Well, so I did it in PowerPoint, and then I sent it to her. And then I said, well, why don't I save time and just remove the video on my end since I already sent it to her, and then I can just use this as mine. Well, then Gina messages me the next day and goes, there's no video. And I was like, excuse me? Because I had saved it both ways, with video and without. And when I went and looked, it removed on both. And I was like, oh no. So I had to re-record the entire presentation, and mine was timed to exactly 35 minutes. And so I was like, oh, I was watching it, and learning how to use PowerPoint in that way was nerve-wracking, because what people don't realize is when you're recording and you see what looks like a fluid video when you watch it, those are snippets. It when you go to move to the next slide, you have to pause it to go to the next slide, and then hit record, and then it records for that slide, and then you have to keep and so it's actually a process. But yeah, I was grateful to have it as a fallback, because I was like, I was one of the first ones, and so I was nervous, going, God, what if I oversleep? What if I miss? So I was grateful to have that. And I honestly thought it was great to have from everybody, because if somebody couldn't make it last minute, you have something to fill that time slot. And or if somebody's, lost power and couldn't get on, you're not holding the conference up waiting for them to get to a location. You just play the video, and the conference moves on, and they show up for Q&A if they can log in. But to me, that was the benefit of that and what I appreciated about it. But I will say, though, much like you were saying, about it's like a stepping stone, that a friend of mine in August, I think it's August, I'm pretty sure it's August, but he's putting on a conference, and I was like, hey, do you need, speakers? What's this up about? And he was like, yeah. And so I'm actually doing a different topic for that conference, but I'll be a part of that. And so it's like, I'm like, oh, I'm now on the conference circuit thanks to Gina.
Yes, I
And
know.
so
I sort of feel that way too. I don't think I ever want to do a conference, but to take part, yes, I would
yeah,
definitely take part again.
I will say, somebody asked me, I think on a show or on an interview, they're like, why don't you do a conference? I'm like, haha, no. One, there's the cost factor of if you're doing it in person, but if you're doing it online, there is way too much information flowing around all over to do a conference and keep together, especially when I do shows, and some months I do less shows than others, but still, that's very time consuming for me. So I'd be like, okay, I got show done. Now I got to do conference, and it'd be like no life. I'm like, I'm working on creating a show balanced life field,
Right.
and adding a conference in, I think, would just throw that all out of whack and be like, oh yeah, no.
No, I totally agree. And I'm retired, so I have more time, but I've got a lot of different irons in the fire with the writing and the marketing of the book. And then my eldest granddaughter's coming in right now singing. But my husband has me, well, my husband's a musician and a songwriter. So I have been using OBS to live stream our music radio shows. And, but so I've really been busy with those, and then I've just recently started doing some video book reviews more as a way to hold myself accountable. I thought even if I have 5 people that look at this stuff, right, it doesn't really matter the numbers, though it would be nice to one day get a check from YouTube, but that's maybe pie in the sky. So I just figure, I'll do these book reviews as I get about halfway through a book, I'll do a part 1 video audio book review and put it on YouTube. And then when I finish the book, I'll do that for the end. Hello, granddaughter.
Well, Sheila, we can go ahead and wrap this up. And how about, since you're the one that's left, and I understand, life happens, and then I wasn't expecting to do like an hour and a half show anyhow. I was expecting an hour, so I'm like, hey, this is bonus after show time.
Yes.
But I'm kind of curious if you have a message that you would like to give to anyone who is like considering joining the speakership of the conferences with Gina, or anyone for that matter. It doesn't have to be just Gina, but just some advice that you would have for them to kind of boost them up, so to speak.
Well, I think people just want more realness, more authenticity these days. And I know for us, we've actually followed some people on YouTube. I guess they're called influencers, right? But mostly they're just boots on the ground type of journalists, maybe pseudo journalists, but they're people with an opinion or a strong desire to talk about certain subjects. And what we love about the ones that we've followed since before the demic, shall we say, so 2019 and on, we've followed certain people like Peter Santinella, who travels all across the US. He's married to a Ukrainian lady, and but she's behind the scenes doing the editing part of his videos, and then he's the one that's in front of the camera speaking to people, and he's really connecting a lot of dots and taking us to places in this country, in the USA, that we have never been to before. And my husband and I both traveled a lot. So I would say just keep it real. Those are kind of the things that I picked up from watching these other influencers. Let the public, let people see your missteps or your mistakes, because one day they may be in front of the camera and they're gonna have a mess up here or there, and we don't want them to be judging themselves and hard on themselves about it. Life happens. So just go with the flow, take it easy, have fun, learn, maybe sync up, connect with the people that you have the most in common with and subjects that you're most interested in, and then use it, like I am now, as a way to hold myself accountable to doing some of the things that I want to do in this life, on this plane anyway, right? Read the certain books that I have on my bookshelf and that kind of thing.
No, that's very cool, and a lot of insight into that. And I will say, for me, I would say trust your voice, trust who you are working with, and trust the process. Don't get in your head and say, oh, this is how it was done of this person or that person, so this is how I'm going to do it. Trust whoever's hosting knows, what they're doing and has your best interest at heart. So that would be my advice, and lean on them to, if you need help. And my little message to Gina is promise a spring and summer days were dragontastic, and I can only imagine and am excited to see what comes from the fall and winter conference. And I think one is Falling Consciously in the fall, and I forget the title of the winter one, so if you recall it, Sheila, chime in. But she's got them named, and I'm just excited to see, Gina, what you're bringing, what's going to be the energy and the flow for those. And I am excited to see what my role will be for those. And Sheila, if you want to take a moment and give a message to Gina, you are more than welcome to. It's not mandatory.
I was just scrolling back through my chat with Gina, and I don't see those, though I'm in agreement with you that I've seen them before. I know she's posted, it's probably in an email. So when you work with Gina in particular, and I don't know if everybody works this way, but you're going to get chat messages, you're going to get emails, and then they usually have a Facebook group too that they'll communicate with you through. So, but of course, anything personally directed to you, like dates, usually they'll have a calendar for everybody to take note of when things are due to them. Try to always live up to those due dates. It's really important for them on their end of things. And then anything that's in particular to you will usually come in as a chat or a specific personal email to you. But try to keep up and read what that person sends out, whether it be Gina or someone else as the administrator of the conference. Or even the team members, like in this case it was Michael, but try to keep up with those because they're trying to be helpful and they may have instructions for you that are things that you wouldn't necessarily think about. And then, like Michael said, to reiterate, is always ask for help. I had to learn that. Actually, my eldest granddaughter, she's 14 now, but when she was 4, so 10 years ago, and I'm 64 now, so that means when I was 54, I had to learn, little help, please. Just remember that, like, just ask, say it that way, little help, please. Because like Missy was saying, I never would have guessed that Missy didn't have the computer, the personal computer experience, because I've been in technology 35 years in my career. So technology to me is like waking up in the morning, you know, falling asleep at night. It's not nothing. Well, I mean, I have been challenged though, and I have questions about OBS even that I could ask Michael. But I have been challenged, but that's just because I'm usually an early adopter and I try to pick up technology as soon as something comes out and I check into it. But now that I'm retired, not so much. So StreamYard, being on the back end or the inside, whatever we want to call it, of StreamYard is new to me. But Zoom I've used for years, and I have written several books, and I have published on Amazon myself. So I've had to learn and grow and get through those challenges and obstacles and hurdles. So I have that maybe puts me ahead just a little bit of some of the other presenters and speakers so that I'm not so worried or don't feel so hesitant, because I know, and I'm speaking now to a couple people that I know I'm hoping will watch this, because Gina had actually asked them and they were too hesitant to say yes to joining the conference. And hopefully they'll join in the fall or the winter, because I think a lot of people have really strong medicine, good medicine to offer, but they're scared, and scared is sometimes a triggering word. I know it is for me, but sometimes we're just hesitant to embrace the technology. And so she'll give you a list, at least in Gina's case, she'll give you a list and you can just check off your items as you do things, go down your list and ask for the little help, please, and try not to be intimidated by the process. Like Michael said, trust the process, because you will grow both as a person, you'll use it in other areas of your life, what you learn, as well as a presenter, as well as if you have a message that you really need to get out into the world while you're living your life on this plane. And yeah, I think that's it.
No, very cool. And while you were talking, I remembered some pictures, and I remember seeing the conferences on a picture, and I found it. So the December conference is Seasons of Dreams. So you got Falling Consciously and Season of Dreams coming up. And so reach out to Gina Virginia Casella, if you want to be a speaker or involved in some way with the conference. And also, a quick note, and Sheila, I know you will agree with this. If you are an author that has published, reach out to Gina and you can be on Story Species, Story Medicine. And it is a wonderful, I think it's an hour and a half where you talk about the book, you share your book, and you get to read from the book. She may read from the book if you ask her to. And so it's a great way to promote your books. And she has questions that, honestly, there was one episode of Story Species I was on, and she asked me a question, and I was like, that's a really good question. I gotta actually think for a second about the answer to that. I was not anticipating that question. So she does a great job of promoting your stuff and building involvement of people's interest. And so I highly recommend, if you have one book, do one episode. If you have, like in Sheila's and my case, 5 books, do 5 episodes, and just, highlight each one. And she is gracious and a kind host and will give you the space to share and go where you need to go to promote your book. So anything you want to say real quick, Sheila, about Story Species, Story Medicine from your end?
No, I just think that I ditto everything you just said. She's kind, gentle. Gina really wants, again, she believes so much in this idea that we all have a story to share and that it can be medicine for others. So if we never share it, then who all has missed out on receiving that medicine? So yes, just contact Gina, reach out to her, and get on the show, especially like Michael said, if you have a book. But you may have a YouTube channel that you want to promote or something too. So whatever your mission is and however you're trying to get it out there, reach out to Gina. I think it would be really cool, especially to find out, how many new people we have that want to share their story medicine. So thank you, Michael.
Yes, and so I'm going to share my normal way that I end my shows, and this goes out to everyone who's been on who was on the show, to Laura, and to everyone who's watching. From my heart and the heart of my shows to you, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for humanity. Thank you for being you, standing up and sharing your stories and participating. So we totally, truly do appreciate everyone in the chat room that comes in and shares and asks questions of us and participates. So thank you all. And with that being said, I am going to play the outro, and have a wonderful rest of the day, Sheila, and everyone that stuck with us to the end. And blessings to you all. And hey, look, we're almost at an hour and a half, so I ended up getting that show time. But on a side note, actually, I'm going to, as this is my show, I'm going to promote that every speaker that was at Summer Daze has or will be on my show with their own special episode. And I know a lot of you are saying, but wait a minute, Sheila and Slavka haven't been on. Just wait, July. They're coming on in July, so they will be on. And so I am totally excited to have them on as guests. And keep following this channel, because you never know when we're going to pop up with information for Falling Consciously with Gina sharing it, and speakers may make appearances on my shows, and so you'll get to hear from them hopefully all before conference or after conference. We can delve a little bit more into their topics, so we'll see how it goes. But thank you all. Stay tuned, follow along, and I will see all of you that are on my side of the chat room tonight for another exciting episode. And so, blessings to you all, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all later. And with that, I am now officially going to the outro. Bye-bye, everyone.